Welcome, welcome, welcome. The dating pool right now is, I don't want to say it's trash because I have an abundance mindset, right? I don't have a scarcity mindset anymore. I do believe there are really good men out here, just like there are really good women out here, fellas. If you're watching this and you like, dang, I can't find me a good woman. Well, honey, you watching one, okay? So there's more of me out here in this dating pool. Trust me. And it can feel daunting. It can feel very frustrating because when you start dating, right, and you finally get that confidence up to start dating again, and then it's like failure after failure after failure, it can be very daunting. But I'm here to tell you, I always say this, it only takes one time to meet your king or queen, okay? Only one chance encounter. So keep going until you have that one chance encounter, okay? That's my advice for you. Do not give up. Do not fret. Your person is out there. I know my man is out there. Maybe he even watching, my future man, maybe he even watching this video. I don't know. So get your wine, get your beer. We about to have some fun over here, but let's get into it, okay? So you see the title of the video. First of all, let me get my drink. All right, so once again, welcome. Please subscribe. So this is gonna be my story time on when I met Tyrone and the consequences of messing with a Tyrone. And fellas, I'm sorry, but you know, if your name is Tyrone, I'm sorry, but that's the name I'm gonna give this character, because that's what he is. He's a character. He's hilarious. He really needs to be a comedian, honestly, y'all. He really needs to be a comedian. He said I was the funny one, but I think he's the funny one. I think he's the comedian. Let's start from the beginning. We're not going to spend too much time on the beginning. So I don't even really know the time that I met him, or I can't even say met him because I didn't meet him in person until last week. That was my first time meeting Tyrone in person. I connected with Tyrone on a dating app that I actually think is a solid dating app out of all the ones out there, Hinge. I think I started talking to him, I want to say January of 2021. We matched on Hinge. I want to say January of 2021. I could be wrong. It was January or February of last year. So long story short, I saw his profile. I thought his profile was really cute, you know, because his responses were very thought out. They were very smart. Tyrone and I started having a conversation. It moved from us talking on the app to him asking me for my phone number. So we went from talking on the app to texting, and then didn't take long, maybe a day or two, we started talking on the phone. I could kind of tell I don't want to say he likes to be the center of attention, but he likes to hear himself talk. Long story short, me and Tyrone started talking over the phone, and like he was already being, I don't want to say possessive, but he was kind of like exhibiting controlling traits, and I just did not like that. Basically, you know, me and him talking over the phone. I believe my mom had like texted me while me and him were on the phone, and I didn't have my phone on vibrate. This is just an example of how he was when I first started talking to him. And yes, you can call me an idiot for even entertaining him again. When I get further into the story, you're gonna be like, girl, why did you even entertain him anymore? Like, you could have just blocked this dude. But like I said, he was just so good with words as far as like facts. He was just really, I'm talking in past tense as if the dude just fell off the earth. He is just a very intelligent person, but as I've learned, someone can have book smarts, but not street smarts or common sense, which is kind of where he falls in. He's written and published a research paper, everything like that, like stuff like that. He really captured me with his intelligence, okay? So back to me diverting a little bit, right? Me and him were talking, we were having great conversations, and this one night, me and him are on the phone, and I believe we were on FaceTime, if I'm not mistaken. And my mom was texting me, because me and my mom are like this, we're best friends, right? She was texting me. I guess I forgot to put my phone on vibrate, so I couldn't hear or tell that he could hear me typing, but he didn't say anything in the moment, but he could hear me talking or texting back, right? After our conversation, we had been on the phone for like 3 hours. Like, me and this man, we really spent time together, like quality time. Not in person in the beginning, because we literally just met last week and he's already blocked, right? But we spent time together, like on the phone. Like we had hours and hours of conversation. So I was really encouraged by that. After we get off the phone, I think I had told him like, hey, I'm gonna go get something to eat. It was like a Friday night. And I'm like, I'm gonna go grab me something to eat. But he wanted to stay on the phone. But we had been talking, like I said, for like 3 hours. And I was hungry, right? So, and I didn't feel like cooking tonight. So I was like, I'm gonna go grab me something, like grab me a bite to eat. And I told him that. So I was like, I'm gonna get off the phone or whatever. And he like texts me an emoji. I may be wrong for this, y'all. If I'm wrong, call me out. But if someone just texts me an emoji, especially if I'm not close to you, I don't say anything back. If we're like texting back and forth and then you just respond with an emoji, I don't even know where else the conversation can go until you start something else. Or maybe the next day I might text you like, hey, how are you doing? Or good morning or whatever. Like that to me was a conversation ender. Like there was nothing else for me to say, right? We had already just talked for 3 hours. So long story short, I didn't text him back. The next day comes and he like sends me like this paragraph of like, he felt basically disrespected that I did not respond to his text. And I was like, what text are you talking about? Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm telling y'all, this man should be a comedian. I'm like, what text are you talking about? And he's like, the text that I sent you, the text I sent you last night, the last text. And I'm like, wait, you're talking about the emoji you sent me? And he's like, yeah, you didn't respond. And he's like, girls that I've dated, they always respond. Even if it's an emoji, they respond. Even if I just text okay, they respond back with something. You just didn't say anything. And I'm like, he made this into like a big deal, y'all. It was ridiculous. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, but that's just not how I communicate. So time goes on. He was like, so we basically got over that, whatever. It was water under the bridge. And we kept talking. He had said that he wants to meet me. Like we had been talking for like, I would say a week. So I was like, okay, where do you want to meet at? Right? He, like, I'm taking it away. I wish I had the text. I would have put the screenshots on here for y'all, but Saturday night, me and him got into it. I like literally immediately deleted the text thread. Like I just deleted it. I was just done. So I was like, okay, where do you want to meet at? Right. So I started like Googling places. I was like, do you want to meet at this? Cause he had told me where he, like the area he lived in. And it's like 30 minutes from me. And I was like, maybe we can meet halfway at like this little coffee shop or whatever. And he was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, so you're telling me we have to go out in order for us to meet? Oh. I'm like, well, that's, what I'm used to. Like, there has never been a man that I've ever in my life, since I've been dating since I was 19. I'm turning 25 in like 3 weeks. Not one man who has said that he wants to get to know me better has ever expected me not to invite me on a date where he takes me out somewhere. Now, does the first date have to be extravagant? No, it could be at like a little, I've been taken to first dates at like just to get drinks or, somewhere neutral, like in public, so I can get a feel for you if I even feel comfortable being with you in private. But he like just jumped the gun. He was like, he had sent me like text early in the day. Like he had bought an air fryer because we had been talking about cooking and stuff. And I was telling him like I use an air fryer sometimes and all that stuff. And he was like, I went out and bought an air fryer. And then he was like, I bought all this fish and all this food. Like we had been texting throughout the day. Back to what I was saying, he had told me that he wanted to meet. And I was like, well, where do you want to meet at? And he was like, well, don't you get it? And I'm like, get what? And he's like, well, I texted you throughout the day that I bought an air fryer and that I just went grocery shopping. So doesn't alarms go off in your mind that obviously I want you to come over? I'm like, that's just not how I do things, right? I'm like, maybe there's some misunderstanding here. And I told him, I don't feel comfortable. I literally just met you off a dating app a week ago. And no, that's just not, I'm not going to your place. I'm not looking for a friends with benefits, right? If you're looking for friends with benefits, y'all do that thing, whatever, but I'm looking for a serious relationship. So I'm not going to your apartment and I just met you a week ago on this dating app. I don't even know, I haven't got a feel for you. I don't know if you are well, I couldn't say he was a catfish because we FaceTimed. So I couldn't say that. He even showed me he did show me his apartment, like he on FaceTime and stuff. But still, I just didn't feel comfortable with that. This is how our communication stopped at first. So fast forward, he had told me later on, he was like, well, that's not cool. Like, you know, you should be able to come over. Like, I want you to come over and kick it with me. And I'm like, no. Like, this has been the problem. Like, honestly, this has been like the root of why me and him just could not go forward, right? He proceeds to tell me that he went on my YouTube page. He saw a video and that he was basically disgusted. And I'm like, how is that disgusting? And he's like, well, you know, you made a video, a story time about another dude. Do you think I want to hear you talking about another man? Like, he was just acting like as if I was his property. Like, he acted as if I was his girl. And I'm like, dude, we literally are in the talking stages. Like, what don't you understand? Y'all, this was just such a frustrating, like, he was so frustrating to deal with, like, honestly. But let's keep going. And okay, so after that, I told him I wasn't cool with that. He said he wasn't cool with taking me on a date. And that's just not how he does things. And he proceeded to go, like, on a whole rant about how women in the past have used him and taken him, like, he's taken them on nice dates, spent hundreds of dollars on dates, and then was ghosted. Or, you know, he felt like used by women in the past. And he said he just doesn't take women out on dates anymore because, you know, of him feeling like he doesn't want to get used or taken advantage of financially. Which, okay, fellas, I understand some of, you know, I understand that some of y'all get taken advantage of. But at the same time, you know, I'm not trying to be mean, but you got to use discernment. If you talking to a female or a woman, right, and you looking to get into a relationship, I mean, dating is a part of the process. It just is. My advice to my men watching this is don't start off taking a woman to a 5-star restaurant. I mean, go for coffee. Go for, I would say a movie, but I don't like movies for first dates. But do something small. Do something where it's not, take her to like a diner, or if she's up for that or whatever. I don't know what to tell y'all, but I understand that men have been taken advantage of. I get it completely. I do. I sympathize for y'all. I really do. But I mean, I know I'm not the type of woman. So when he was saying these things, it was offensive to me because I know for me, matter of factly, I've never taken advantage of a man. Honestly, if anything, I've been taken advantage of by a man financially. So I couldn't really vibe with what he was saying. So long story short, me and Tyrone stopped talking. He had messaged me on the dating app telling me some BS. And like, I went back on there. He had messaged me. I saw it pop up in my notifications. And when I clicked on the message, it was going because he had like unmatched us. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't really care. So went on about my dating life, had my fun. I had fun all summer long, honey. I had a summer fling. Well, not a summer fling, but a summer romance. It ended like a lot of summer romances do, but it was fun. It was fun. So let's move to the current times, okay? This is when Tyrone really showed his ass, okay? This is when he really showed his ass. Your girl's been single for about 5 months. 5 months? Yeah, it's been about 5 months. You know, when me and him had initially started talking, we followed each other on Instagram. He had unfollowed me. Like, we stopped talking completely. Next thing I know, I want to say literally the day after my relationship ended last October, like literally the next day, if not that night. You know, I think this is what's funny to me. Like when you get out of a relationship, it's like people come out the woodworks. Like, what the hell? It's the weirdest thing. But anyway, so like that night that me and my ex broke up, he reached out to me on Instagram, and it was like a really heartfelt message. Okay, this was October of 2021. It was a really heartfelt message. He was like, you know, I've realized like I've gone through, you know, a self-reflective journey. And I've realized the way I went about things earlier this year was wrong. And he was saying to me that he felt that, you know, me and him had a connection, which we did. If it wasn't for all the craziness, like when it was just us talking about stuff, when it wasn't him tripping, we were good. You know, we had great, beautiful conversation. Like I said, we would be on the phone for like 2-3 hours at a time on FaceTime, laughing it up, like having a great conversation. So he was like, you know, I felt like we really had a great conversation. And, you know, he bleeped up, right? But he proceeds to reach out to me that night. You know, we started talking again. He texted, he still had my phone number. I never blocked him. He was like, "Can you unblock me?" And I was like, "I never blocked you. I don't know why you think you're blocked, but whatever." We started talking on the phone. I think he called me that night and we started talking again. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. This is what my ass gets. This is what my ass gets. He calls me one night. I'm at my mama's house. Honest to God, I don't really remember what happened, but I don't know. Something just wasn't clicking. And so we just stopped talking again. I mean, and take this, y'all, as a lesson. Like, if you and a person just can't get on the same page, just leave them alone. Seriously. Like, if you and a person just cannot, after several attempts, cannot get on the same page, it's just not going to work. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work. There are other people out here to entertain. Don't be stuck off of one individual. Trust me, it's not worth the stress. So fast forward, we're now in March, right? So he reached out to me again last month in February 2022. Y'all, I mean, he reached out to me while I was on my girls trip, which is also on this YouTube page. I vlogged it when I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Please check it out if you haven't. Reconnected, and I actually have, like, I might insert it here, a clip of like me and him. I don't want to say we got into it, but like he just started talking that mess again. Because he was saying that he realizes he understands how I want to do things, how I want to do the dating experience, and he respects it. And if I feel comfortable with us going out, he's going to take me out. He has the means to. It's no problem. But then he started like getting back on this little rant about, I still don't understand why you can't come over here and chill. We've been talking for, we've been knowing of each other for a year now. And I'm like, bruh, like Tyrone, just because we've been talking on the phone for a year, it doesn't mean I know you. I mean, I just don't. I still got to get a feel for you in person. I'm sorry. I've heard so many stories of people talking on the phone and then they meet the person, they're a weirdo. I'm not about to be caught up in a lifetime scenario situation and go to his place and then he's a freaking weirdo and I don't know how to escape. I'm just not going to do that. Okay. Me personally, I'm not ballsy enough for that. I'm not bold enough for that. That's bold. For me, I'm just not doing that. So we got back into that conversation again about why we stopped talking the first couple times. And it was not a pleasant conversation. But I'm not going to get too much into that. Next thing I know, he's messaging me on Instagram again, like, damn, like, I don't know why we got so much passion between us. Like, I just feel like it's passion. And, like, dang, like, I just can't stop thinking about you. I just really want to get to know you. Like, I feel like I just can't get the right words out. Like, he sounded so genuine, y'all. He sounded so genuine. My foolish self, okay? I'm still learning, y'all. I'm still learning. But you got to go through experiences to know what not to do in the future, right? Yeah, so we started talking again. Like I started like really opening up to him. It might have been the tequila. But so I'm at her bar, me and him are talking. Like I really started opening up to him and he really started opening up to me about like his childhood and just about a lot of deep stuff. Like we really started connecting, y'all. Like I said, it could have been the Long Island iced teas. Those things will sneak up on you, they're dangerous. I don't know. It could have been a lemon drop with the tequila, extra shot of tequila, the double. I don't know. But we really just started opening up to each other. Fast forward. Let's get to the juicy part of the story. About 2 weeks ago, once again, he slid in the DMs. So I posted a picture on Instagram. I might post it on here if I remember. And I was looking bomb. Next thing I know, he's double tapping my stuff, like all my stuff. I saw his username. And I'm like, oh gosh, here he go again. Next thing I know, he's like messaging me. I still got the message. I blocked him on Instagram, so I might have deleted the messages. If I can retrieve the messages, I'll put the screenshots. I'll blur out his username, but I'll post the screenshots so y'all can see the way he was talking, okay? So he starts messaging me like, damn, you look good. I really got to get to, like, we really just got to get it together. Like, we really got to figure this out because I just can't stop thinking about you. Like, yada, 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 yada. Okay, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This is a channel to be real. I mean, I would think about him occasionally because, our conversations were really deep. It's not a soul tie. I would not call it a soul tie. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And I'm like, you know what, we never met in person. I'm just really curious of how this will go. We started talking again and we started being on the phone again and things were going good, right? He texted me last Tuesday evening. And he says to me, what are you doing tomorrow night or tomorrow evening? And I said, it's going to be a Wednesday evening. I don't typically do anything during the week. And so he says to me, would you want to go with me to a game? Because he is, I don't know if it's like a ticket holder or whatever of like basketball tickets. Like he can go to every game. I don't know what it is. And he could take a +1. So I said to him, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, sure. Like I've never been to a basketball game before. Why not? So I'm like, this would be fun. I've always wanted to do that. And he's like, okay, you've never been to a basketball game? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll be the first one to take you. Like that makes me feel good. This is where you wanna lean in. Yeah. He texts me in the middle of the afternoon. So I was like, okay. So he's following up. He tells me he sends me the address of the parking garage. Like he was on point that day. Tyrone was on point. So I get there. He calls me right before I get to the parking garage. Like, I want to make sure you get there and turn here. Like, give me directions so I don't miss the turn. I did miss the turn the first time, just direction challenge. He's like, damn, I'm not gonna be able to get my food. I haven't ate. I just got off of work and I'm hungry. I'm not gonna be able to get my food because you're taking forever. I'm just like, really? So I get there and I park, and then I get out my car and he's like, MIA. Like I saw him when I came into the parking garage. He was standing there. I saw him standing there. He was like, this is me. He was waving. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, he looks cuter than he does online. No tea, no shade. And I park, I back in. And by the time I backed in, and I told him to give me a minute because I had to apply my lips and stuff, like my lipstick and stuff. And I turn and I get out the car and he's gone. So I'm like, what the hell? He was gone for 2 minutes. And I'm like, that was my first oh, this is not gonna, no. Let me just have a good time at the game and whatever. Well, next thing I know, he went up the stairwell or whatever. Then he comes back out the stairwell and he's like, Diamond. And I'm like, where were you? And he's like, I'm waiting for you. Like, what? I thought you were following me. And I'm like, you just saw me parking. So how was I following you? Child. This man was a whole piece of work. Anyway, we almost get hit by a car walking to the Spectrum Center in Charlotte to get to the game. That was a real thing. He protected me. He made sure I walked on the other side, not close to the street, and, whatever. So we get inside the place and he is just tripping. He's like, I don't like to be patient. Because he wanted nachos and he wanted to get a drink. And the line was kind of long to get nachos, and the game was about to start in 5 minutes. And he's like, see, I told you to be on time and I felt bad because I'm like, damn, it was raining really, really hard, which made it where I had to drive slower, obviously. I felt like I left on time, but it just was traffic. I'm not trying to make excuses for my timeliness or lack thereof, but that's just the truth of it. Oh, he was just tripping. He's like, I don't like being patient. Maybe I'll just say fuck the nachos because this is taking too long. He's acting like he's never seen a game before. I could see if I was tripping because I've never seen a game before. He goes literally every weekend. This is nothing special to him. I went to the other line. He gave me his card to pay for our drinks. I was like, I'll stand in this line and you stand in the other line so I can get our drinks and then you can get your nachos. So at least we're both holding our place in line. So it's not like he's standing there with me to get the drinks and then we go back to the other line. You know what I'm saying? Just to help move it faster. So he gave me his card to pay for the drinks and he was like, you're going to come back over there, right? And I'm like, well, of course. I didn't expect him to do that, honestly. I thought that was cool. I'm not saying for men to do that regularly, but, I thought that was cool. He made sure I didn't have to come out of pocket for anything. We go to the game, like I said, he was tripping in the nachos line. Oh my God, it's taking forever. Oh my God. He was just really impatient. And I'm not the most patient person, but he took it to a whole nother level. I'm just going to keep it real. He was just very impatient. And that was a red flag for me. I was like, I don't want to be with a man that's just super duper impatient. That's just a turn on for me. It's you're a grown ass man, almost 30, chill. You're going to get your food, calm down. There was only one person doing the food and then one person at the cashier. So obviously it was going to take longer. You've been here before. Stop acting like a child. We go to the game. We actually really enjoyed it. We had conversation. The game was about 2 hours. We had conversation throughout the game. There was chemistry there. Like I said, which is always the case, right, ladies or gents? When you take away the red flag stuff, it's great, right? But when you got to really be real with yourself and be realistic, those red flags are there for a reason. And you have to really make a decision. And is this something I'm going to be able to deal with? Or do I need to just walk away and cut my losses? And I was just thinking that in the back of my mind while I was at this game. I'm like, I don't know. Like, we have chemistry, but I am just, his attitude is just not the best. So we were talking at the game. I was laughing it up. He was laughing it up. He's like, you're hilarious. Like, I'm really enjoying this with you. And like, we had a good time. Game ends. He goes his way. I go my way. Like, we walk with each other to the parking garage. He made sure I was straight. I was like, okay, cool. We left out at the same time. Before I even got home, he called me. It was about home, and my mom called me because she had told me to call her when I left the game, but my ass was blasting Lotto and Cardi B, so I didn't. Sorry, mommy. Love you. But so I told him, like, I gotta get off the phone. So I mean, like, I had literally just spent this whole evening with this man, and I told him I had to get off the phone because my mom was calling me. He's like, okay, cool, just call me right back. I have to get off the phone with her. And I didn't say anything. I was like, well, okay, you have a good night, whatever. Next day comes, he texts me good morning, hope you have a good day, whatever. This was last Thursday. And so the day goes on, and then we talk that night for like 2 hours, y'all. And he started talking really crazy. He just starts talking crazy. He's talking about, y'all women are always doing this and that, and just talking negative. And he had told me he had been drinking, but I'm like, this is really what you think? Like, he was reciting stuff that I know Kevin Samuels has said. Like, he was just tripping, like, really hard. Like, he had made a comment to me saying that his ex, his first girlfriend made him wait 4 months before they had sex. His second girlfriend made him only wait a month, and he would never wait longer than a month before, you know, he'll have sex with someone that he's seeing. And I'm like, I can't even say what I want to say right now. It was a very revealing conversation. Like, everything bad about him came out in that conversation. He was just talking down on women. Oh, y'all women always expecting us to do this, but y'all hoes behind the scene, and I'm taking out this woman, but she's effing somebody else, and she's screwing someone else. And I'm like, were y'all exclusive? Well, no, but the fact that I took her on a few dates, that should mean that she not seeing nobody else. And like, he was just talking out of his ass, y'all. Like, he was just talking freaking crazy. And I was just like in awe. Like, I really wasn't even saying anything because I was literally in shock. I wanted to hang up, but I was just in shock. I just couldn't. I just kept letting him talk because I just could not believe what he was saying. He was like, you know, y'all always expect this and that, but y'all don't want to give it up. And he's like, I've been trying to chill with you, but you want me to take you on dates. And if you think that you're going to be the one benefiting off of these dates, and I go on 10 dates with you and I still haven't got none, then you tripping. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, you the type that you want a man to just treat you out, but you don't think you got to give nothing back in return. And I don't like that. And he was just tripping, y'all. He was just tripping. Like, everything bad about him came out. You know, I had respect for him. I really did. It completely went out the window. That one conversation was enough to do it for me. So the next day comes Friday. But he texts me and he says, you know, I hope you have a great day. I'm like, you too. I was already like making my escape plan. Like, how can I come up with the reason why this is not going to work? Yeah, I was just like, yeah. Like, all Friday, I was just, like, thrown off. Because I just kept thinking about, I can't believe there are men that think like him. Like, he is a devout Kevin Samuels follower. I mean, I could understand a little if he, like, listened to it a little bit and he just used his own discernment about what he felt was valid and what wasn't. But he takes Kevin Samuels as gospel. Like, there's nothing that that man could say that Tyrone wouldn't think was right. Like, that's just, he has allowed this person to shape his view of women. And he has allowed his bad experiences with women to shape his overall view of women. Like, he has only had 2 girlfriends. He has not been in a relationship for 4 years. He's telling me he wants marriage and children, but he is acting like a child, and he's just talking down on women. And it was very nasty. It was very nasty. Friday, I didn't talk to him. So I texted him, this was Saturday afternoon, and I told him, I haven't really been saying anything to you because our conversation Thursday night threw me off, and it really turned me off from you. Like, it was a lot of stuff you said that bothered me. So I knew he was going to another basketball game Saturday night. And so he says to me, I'll call you after the game is done. So I was like, okay, cool. He calls me, and I was in my other room playing with my cat. And so I missed a call. So he texted me. He was like, well, I did call, like, with attitude. So I call him right back, and I'm like, I told him. He was like, well, the floor is yours. I want to hear what you didn't like. So I told him what I didn't like about him basically downing women. And I told him I didn't like him generalizing women. I felt like that was inappropriate, and I just did not appreciate it. After I say what I have to say, he completely goes off, like unhinged. He just completely went off on me. He said he felt like me telling him that I didn't like something that he said meant that I wanted him to change who he is, and he refuses to do that. I don't know where he got me saying I didn't. And I explained to him what bothered me. I really was trying to have a conversation, and he just completely went off. He started talking about his ex reached out to him. Him and his ex have been talking. He was like, well, that Friday night that you didn't text me back, I was talking to her on the phone for like a few hours, and me and her are going to get back together, and she's been sending me pics, and her picture's already the background of my phone, and I'm pretty much locked in. And so what are you going to do about it? What am I gonna do about it? I said, I wish y'all the best. That's what I'll do about it. I said, I hope it works out for you. I said, I know it's not going to, because you talked about her and your relationship in a negative light. There was nothing ever positive that you told me about that relationship. So if you think that this is what's best for you, then congratulations, and I hope it works. And I told him I wish him the best, and I hung up the phone. He calls me right back, and I'm like, Tyrone, I'm not going to argue with you. You're not going to blow up my line. He's like, I'm not calling back to argue with you. I'm just calling back to let you know and make things very clear that I feel like you're going to end up with a bum. And all this crazy stuff he was saying. And he was like, I am that dude. I am that dude. And you don't know a good man when you see him. And you don't know, you want a man for looks. And all this crazy stuff he was saying. And he was like, I am that dude. And you're going to think back to this 2 years from now and realize you effed up, because I am the best you could ever have. I'm like, okay, Tyrone. So I went in. I'm working on not reacting. I went in. I told him I think he was a dumbass. I said, you're very disrespectful and yada, yada, yada. He hung up on me, of course. Then next thing I know, I go to Instagram. My following dropped by 1. I'm like, okay, he's trying to play this game. So I said, let me go. I blocked him first on Instagram. This is so childish, y'all. I was like, he unfollowed me first. Let me block him first. Because I know he wasn't going to block me, because he wanted to keep that door open. Because this is how these type of men operate. It's a game to them. Sorry, fellas. The men that are good, you good guys out here, you know who you are. This is not pertaining to you. This is pertaining to men that are just dogs and trash. And yes, I know that there are women out here that are also jacked up, but we're not talking about that right now, okay? Yeah, to him it was a game. Like, I knew he wasn't gonna block me. He was going to wait probably 2 or 3 more months when his and his so-called new relationship broke up, and reach back out to me and act like nothing happened and want a clean slate and do this all over again. And I wasn't going to do it again. He thought taking me on one date meant that I was going to now come lay up at his place. And when I didn't do that, that pissed him off, because to him it's a game. And I don't have time for games. So that's the story time. There's a lot more that happened, but I'm not going to spill all the tea. He might drop down in the comments and say some nasty stuff. If you see a random person dropping down in my comment section talking crap, it's him. It's Tyrone. Tyrone, if you're watching this, I wish you all the best. I pray for your mental health, and I hope that you seek healing, because you really, really need it. And that's not me being shady. That's not me being sarcastic. I'm being very serious, because the way that he would go on tangents and the way that he spoke Thursday night was very foul. And he knows he was wrong for that. And that's why he went off, because he was called out and he didn't like it because he knew he was wrong. And that's how people like that operate. And that's why, ladies, stick to your discernment. Stick to your intuition. Our intuition does not fail us. Every single time he would try to get me to go by his place, like he tried that Thursday night and I didn't respond back to him, I would decline, because I knew if I went by his place, he was not a safe man. Yeah, he had a good job. Yeah, he had a great, he had a degree in biology and chemistry. He was very intelligent. Yes, he has publicized research papers with scientists and all that stuff. Yes, he's very smart. But just because someone has a good job, just because someone makes good money, does not mean that they're a safe person or a safe man to be around. And I think a lot of us women, we have to realize that. We think, oh, he's a doctor. Oh, he's this. He would never hurt me. Just because he makes 6 figures or more, and he doesn't make 6 figures, but I'm just saying he made a decent living and he had a career going for himself in education and all of that. That didn't mean that he was safe for me to be that vulnerable with, if that makes any sense. But the door is absolutely closed. He's been blocked on my phone. He's been blocked on my social medias. He cannot reach me. It's funny to think it took over a year for us to finally meet in person. And it was like less than 3 days later, it fell apart, because it was just never meant to be. Like I said, if you got to keep going back and forth with a person, they're not for you. If you got to keep going on and off, they're not for you. It's not stable. It's not going to work. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. More story times are coming. More vlogs are coming. More cook with me's are coming. Girl been in the kitchen. So make sure you're here for it. Because if you're not here for the party, baby, I don't know. All right, y'all. See y'all in the next one. Thanks for listening.